And I want to give you a question. It might be in your listening guide there. I don't remember if I put it in there. But the question is, when are you living right now? When are you living right now? So let me illustrate this with an example. When one of the things that tweaks me is money stuff. When surprises around money comes up, if there's something that can put me in a ditch, it's often around money. I'm sure you all are well-heeled and, perfectly, none of this stuff. But you may have people in your congregation or your neighbor deals with this kind of thing. So I used to have a routine, and the routine was this. When something would cause me anxiety, I would go to, and don't try to make sense of this because it doesn't make sense. It wouldn't even have to do with money. But something would tweak my anxiety, and I would go to, remember back when we had the savings books for your bank accounts? Yeah. Remember, and you would fill those in, and, okay, I took out $100 or whatever. I would go to that, and I would open it up to the last entry and see how much was in there. If there was enough in there to make me feel good, or safe, is probably a better way to say it, I close it, put it in the drawer, close the drawer, and back to life. If I open it up, and there's not enough in there to make me feel safe, I immediately go to my wife and I say, "Where's all our money going? What are we spending all our money on? We got to start. We got to start being more careful. We got to tighten up the budget. We got to do all these things." And she knew within a couple days I'd be back to normal, and this is just part of being married to this messed up guy. And the Lord's done a lot of work in that. He's not done, but He's done a lot of work in that. When am I living in that kind of an experience? In that case, you know what? That's true. Let me go both directions first. Go the other direction first. I'm living in the future because what am I anxious about? We're not going to have enough money then. I'm also living in the past because, although this is much more subconscious, because of times where I didn't have enough then. And so we have this issue of when am I living? And you have in your, I think I even have this in your listening guide here. If this is the present, and this is the future, and this is the past, let's go. I'm not spending a lot of time here. I'm moving throughout my life here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Now, I heard an interesting definition. I don't know where it came from, so I can't give any credit for it, but I didn't come up with this. Is that anxiety is about living in the future or the past. Yeah, and for everyone it's different. If I had to put little marks on how often it happens, most of my marks are going to be out here. But when I'm experiencing anxiety, it's because I'm here or I'm here. That's when I'm living. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't plan for the future. It doesn't mean that you don't have a retirement account. That's nothing. But you can live here and have a retirement account. Right. You can live here and still grieve the wounds of the past and move through those things. So let's do this. Let me give you just a moment. Look at your little, the little line in your listening guide there. And put a mark on there. Where do you find yourself living? And it may be on both sides. Where do you find yourself living? When do you find yourself living? Now, the problem with this is that, the problem with this is When I go here, I'm alone. When I go here, I'm alone. And it's because Jesus is here. Have you ever worried or felt overwhelmed, anxious, whatever it is, and felt alone? It's because I'm here and Jesus is here. Jesus isn't in the future. Now, when I get here, he'll be there. And when I was back here, he was there. But he's not here right now. Jesus is right here. And the only way that I can experience Jesus' presence is to be in the here and now. It's to be in the present moment. And so the challenge for us is, how do we get ourselves and how do we position other people to live in the present moment? And that's where a lot of, for people that you may minister to, or you may, when you have, those kind of things that you struggle with, I think 95% of the time, it's because I'm not here. Because here's what I've found, and this isn't, there's certain things that have become real. There's a lot of things that are true, but they're not real. But so one thing that's become real is that Jesus can redeem anything. Now, I know that now. I used to just think it was true. I know it now. And I know that because when I have gone here and I sat in the ditch, Jesus sat with me. And I experienced him in the ditch with me. And I found that I would rather be in the ditch with Jesus than anywhere else. Even if it's, in the mansion, whatever it is. If I'm in the ditch with Jesus, I'm okay because he's with me there. That doesn't mean that, that I'm just going to roll around in the mud. And I don't ever want to build a home in the ditch. But I spend enough time in the ditch that, that it's a place where I meet him. And then we walk out together, and then I end up in the ditch again. And then we walk out together, and he's not weirded out by any of that. And so this is the challenge of where. And I know I've got some more notes in here. Let me mention the scripture, and then we're going to take a break here because we took a lot of time with that the exercise. If you look at this and say, well, I don't know about all this, go back to Mary and Martha. They're there. Everyone's here for a meal. We got to have sandwiches. And the people are going to be hungry. Martha was so busy living here, she was so busy making something for Jesus that he never asked for, that she missed out on being with Jesus here. And then she dumps shame on Mary because she's not helping make sandwiches. What does Jesus say? Just get here and stay here at my feet. Just be here with me. We will figure out the sandwiches.
So she was in the future? Or?
Martha's out here and Mary's here. And Jesus keeps drawing his people back to be with me, even if it's hard to be there. So, last thing on this is not going to be any easier than helping people move external to internal. This is just as hard. Because being here can be scary, because I'm told I'm not supposed to be in the ditch anymore. Well, guess what? You know what? We all go there. We all have plenty of time in the ditch. Okay, so I know I left some notes up, but at least you get the concept here of the when and the where.